Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Got some more news in the transfer portal, and you knew it was going to be a crazy month when you saw all the names that hit the portal mid-December. Jalen Catalon was a guy that not many people were talking about because he's been banged up the last couple of years, only 1 year of eligibility left. Texas ends up landing him, and this is, in my opinion, a very, very big pickup for the Longhorns. Jalen Catalon, a guy that heading into the 2021 season was a guy I thought could be a day one draft pick. You look at what he did in 2020, 99 tackles, 2 for a loss, 3 interceptions, 4 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles. This guy was all over the place, can play inside the box, can play kind of that center field safety spot. A very versatile player and a very good player. Before we talk a little bit more about Jalen Catalon and what this means for the Texas program, what they're going to look like in 2023, I just want to say thank you guys for the support you guys have shown. Again, we love making these videos. We love talking ball with you guys, and the support you guys have shown truly means a lot. So if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Let's get back into Jalen Catalon here. He's a guy that just hasn't been able to stay healthy the last 2 years. Even last year, like 2022, he only played in 1 game and got hurt. But during that game, he had 8 tackles, was being active against that Cincinnati team for Arkansas, and then suffers a season-ending injury, hits the portal. And this is a Texas team that you look at what they're returning, and there's a reason why Texas hasn't been that active in the transfer portal. I believe they've only brought in 2 other guys, Gavin Holmes from Wake Forest, which, by the way, I think is going to be a very, very nice pickup for Texas, but also I believe a punter. And you're seeing a lot of other Power 5 teams really get active in the transfer portal. I think why you're seeing the lack of activity from Texas is you look at the depth chart, you look at what they're bringing back, and then what they're bringing in that 2023 recruiting class. There's not really much of a reason to bring in many guys. And what I like about the addition of Jalen Catalon is Texas's defense. This is the best defense Texas has had in years. And what I think part of it was the physicality that they brought on the defensive side of the ball, starting up front with guys like Keandre Coburn, Moro Ajomo, really physical dudes, Jalen Ford at the linebacker spot. You're adding Jalen Catalon, who is going to fit right into what Texas was doing in 2022 and what they're going to want to do in 2023. This guy hits hard. He flies around the field. He can make plays in the passing game, but he also can come up in the run game and be very active. You're getting a guy that can do a lot of different things and kind of fits what Texas is moving towards. And you look at why Texas might have struggled so much on defense the last couple of years outside of 2022 was physicality wasn't there. They had that physicality, and Jalen Catalon is going to add to that. Now, I want to pull up kind of what this Texas team is going to look like in 2023 and kind of why I don't think they're adding too many guys to the portal is because they don't really need to. You look at the quarterback position, like Quinn Ewers, obviously, I think a lot of Texas fans would agree with me. Disappointing first year, but you have 2 of probably the most talented quarterbacks in the whole entire country, Quinn Ewers, and then obviously Arch Manning coming in. That quarterback room looks great. And then big time news, Jordan Whittington coming back to Texas. You're looking at a nice 3-headed monster at the wide receiver position with Xavier Worthy, who I really hope does come back because he's a guy that if Quinn Ewers and him can click, I think you're going to see one of the best quarterback wide receiver batteries in the country. Isaiah Nair, the transfer from Wyoming last year, I believe it was an ACL that took him out for the whole season this year. He'll be back. You obviously get Jordan Whittington, who's going to run it back. And one of my favorite players that I probably Texas fans talk a lot more than I think the national media does, JT Sanders at the tight end position, one of the better pass catching tight ends in the whole entire country, also can block his tail off as well. The offense looks great. I think the defense is returning a lot of guys. I mean, you bring back a guy like Jalen Ford in the middle of that defense. Probably should have been Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. He's a guy that not many linebackers go day one in the NFL draft. When you look towards that 2024 NFL draft, I think Jalen Ford might be hearing his name called Thursday night in the first round. I think that's how special he is. And you're kind of solidifying the secondary where I think you've gotten good play like Ryan Watts coming from Ohio State, solid Anthony Cook, and you're not really sure some of these guys coming back, whether they're not. But you're adding Jalen Catalon, who I think will start for Texas, but even if he doesn't, he's going to provide great depth. He's going to be productive for them. And then you look at like who's coming back into this 2023 class. You're getting a bunch of guys that it's very rare to have guys, true freshmen, kind of make significant impacts. I think you're getting a couple of guys who probably will be think Cedric Baxter, if you watched him in the All-American game this weekend, very physical dude. And when you talk about guys who look like they're ready to play Power 5 football as 18-year-old, Cedric Baxter checks that box. Obviously coming from Orlando, Florida, built. I think he's going to be a guy. Jonte Cook, also a super speedy guy who's very talented. I think he's another guy that one of the maybe problems I saw with this Texas team, and I watched a lot of Texas football, was the wide receiver position. You had Xavier Worthy, you had Jordan Whittington, you had JT Sanders. Outside of those three, there wasn't much great wide receiver play. Now you get Isaiah Neyor back, and obviously JT Sanders and Xavier Worthy back, but I think Jonte Cook could be in line for kind of one of those talented wide receivers that you kind of wish Agiye Hall was coming in through the transfer portal last year. And then Anthony Hill, again, DeMarvion Overshown going to the draft. Anthony Hill's another guy that he's got the body to produce right away. This Texas team, I think if they can figure out, and I think a lot of Texas fans would agree, if they can figure out the quarterback situation and get Quinn Ewers to kind of unlock his potential, even like 85% of what he's potentially able to do, this Texas team has to be one of the favorites to make the college football playoffs. That's how talented they are, and that's, in my reason, kind of why they're not going to the portal. This team is very, very complete. On the offensive side of the ball, I don't think they really reached their full potential, especially in that passing game. If they put that together, I think this defense is going to be as good, if not better, next year. And this offense has a lot of room to improve, and I think they can improve. They're returning back pretty much all of their big-time playmakers outside of that running back position. By the way, I want to shout out Keelan Robinson. I think he might be really special for Texas as kind of just a playmaker, whether he's getting the ball out of the backfield or whether he's kind of playing that wide receiver role. This Texas team is loaded to the gills on the offensive side of the football. Steve Sarkisian, for problems you might have with him, great offensive-minded head coach. If they get it clicking in the offseason, and this offense can be a top 5 offense, which I think it's very capable of being, this team is going to be looking very dangerous in 2023, and they get a massive pickup in Jalen Catalon through the portal. Again, not really hitting the portal as hard as maybe other teams have, but they don't really need to because this team is very, very complete heading into 2023. Again, wanted to keep this one short, but did want to touch on Jalen Catalon, who I think really is going to make some noise for this Texas Longhorns team. Again, we appreciate the support you guys have shown. If you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Once again, we appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later.